Now it's, the celebrations are over, right? I mean, you have the celebration on Sunday night, you had the celebration on Wednesday night, the great atmosphere at Madison Square Garden, the loss on Sunday, the win on Wednesday, the victorious celebration into the streets, and, all of that. As we discussed yesterday a little bit, the Knicks fan enjoying it. Well, now it comes down to expectations. So now it's no longer about, celebrating that the Knicks are here or enjoying the fact that they had the regular season that nobody expected, and Julius Randle and Tom Thibodeau and Derrick Rose and how he looks revitalized and playing at that MVP level and the growth of R.J. Barrett. Now it's a matter of tonight down in Atlanta, as you just heard Recco mention, there's going to be around 21,000 in attendance down in the A to take in Hawks and Knicks tonight in a big Game 3. Now it's a matter of expectations about winning a series. Because that's really what it should be about now moving forward. It's no longer, the storyline is no longer about, we're happy to be here, or as I've joked around, we've moved from the kid table to the grown-up table. It's no longer the cut-up pizza. Now all of a sudden you're able to have the 2 or 3 course meal. Right? It's no longer about being welcomed into the playoff table and getting back to relevancy and no longer being the butt end of jokes. Now it's about the expectations and what do you do with this opportunity? Because, yes, it's been 8 long years, and we've gone through the trials and tribulations of being a Knicks fan, and they've tested your patience, they've tested your will, they've tested your spirit as a Knicks fan over the years. They really have. I mean, they've done everything they could as an organization to make you say, no longer. They can no longer hurt me. They can no longer go through the pain. I don't want to deal with this anymore. They're insufferable. Dolan, is running a lackluster franchise, one bad hire after another. They did all of that. But that's all in the past, right? It makes this moment even that much more sweeter. Because when you don't have the repetitive success, you're not the Lakers. You're not historically the Boston Celtics, right? You don't have this repetitive success where, you're the Yankees of the NBA. That's not the Knicks, right? So we've been through all that pain. They've cut us. We've scabbed up. The wound has been healed. And we're sitting here right now as Knicks fans getting ready for a big Game 3 tonight. And now it's about winning this series. You won a game. Fantastic. You didn't fall down 0-2. Great. It was great to see 15,000 back at Madison Square Garden. Unbelievable. We can get into the debates about it, and we have talked about the chants, whether they were appropriate or not at MSG. They happened. The fan that spit on Trae Young has been banished from Madison Square Garden for hopefully eternity. And now you get to a Game 3 tonight down in Atlanta, and for the Knicks, for me, it's no longer about, it's great to be here. Now it's a matter of the expectations about this Knicks team doing something in these playoffs. Realistically doing something. And what I mean by that is winning a playoff round. It's not just a matter of being competitive against the Atlanta Hawks. Now it's a matter of winning this series and moving on to the second round in the Eastern Conference and then seeing exactly where you stand against the Philadelphia 76ers. Is it not? Because I, as a Knicks fan, I would be disappointed if they lose this series. I was the one a couple weeks back when Maggie and I were talking about it, about whether or not it was the Miami Heat. I said I expected the Knicks, if they were in the 4-5 matchup, I expected the Knicks to win. If they were facing one of the top 3 teams in the Eastern Conference, that being the Bucks, the Nets, or the Philadelphia 76ers, I didn't expect the Knicks to win the series. But I expected them to beat the Atlanta Hawks. And I think there are things that you have seen here through the first 2 games that make you really encouraged that the Knicks are going to win this series. Number 1, Randle. Randle can't be this bad offensively, can he? Can he? I mean, the minutes police out there are taking their notes because Randle does not look like he has the pep in his step. And maybe it was nerves. Maybe it was playing in front of the Garden faithful. Maybe it was the not being able to, get his emotions in check, whatever it might be. But Julius Randle offensively, aside from the third quarter in Game 2, Julius Randle offensively has not been great. Do you expect Julius Randle to be this bad offensively the rest of the series? I do not. I think you can count on Derrick Rose to be what he has been. Rose has been unbelievable. Not great, he has been unbelievable. He was the best Knick on the court in Game 2. And I think you could expect Derrick Rose to give you that now. I don't think Tom Thibodeau wants him to be playing 38, 39 minutes a night, but I do think you could expect Derrick Rose to be giving you what he is giving you right now offensively. You're not going to be great defensively. The Knicks, at the guard position, handling Trae Young, they have to be creative, as we saw in Game 2. Force him to the left, double team, get the ball out of his hands, make somebody else beat you. Whether that be Danilo Gallinari, whether that be DeAndre Hunter, whether that be Bogdanovic, make somebody else beat you. Don't allow Trae Young to dictate the style, tempo of the game. Tempo. Something we talked about with Brian Geltzeiler yesterday. You know, the tempo of this series through the first 2 games is playing to the Knicks' favor. The Knicks want to minimize possessions, not maximize them. They want to minimize them. They want to walk the ball up the court. They don't want to play in an up-tempo style. You play up-tempo style, you're playing into the Atlanta Hawks' hand. Trae Young wants to play in the open court. You think the Atlanta Hawks want to play physical, dealing with the physicality of the Knicks down low? No, you saw that in Game 2. They shot 44 threes. So for the first time in a long time, I woke up this morning, couldn't wait to get on the airwaves and talk about the Knicks, right? And everything going on in New York sports, because it's fun. The Mets were good yesterday. Yankees' second game were good yesterday. You know, and you're looking forward to a little Knick playoff basketball tonight on the road in Atlanta. And I woke up this morning thinking about the expectations. Now it's no longer just being happy to be there. Now it's no longer about celebrating the Knicks' victory on Wednesday night. Now it's a matter of the expectations to win this series. And I, as a Knicks fan, would be disappointed if they lose this series. I expect Randle to play a lot better offensively. I like the defensive adjustments the Knicks made in the second half regarding Trae Young. Remember, he did have 20 in the first half in Game 2. I think you can count on Derrick Rose to be a constant. The Knicks have been a really good perimeter team defending the 3. The Atlanta Hawks are already complaining about the physicality down low of the Knicks, and the Knicks are by far a better defensive team. So all they need is a little bit of offense. Not an unbelievable amount of offense, just a little bit of offense. And a little bit of help for Randle and Rose, whether that be Bullock, whether that be Barrett, whether it be Taj Gibson giving you a great 30 minutes the other night, whether it be quickly off the bench. They just need a little bit. Everything that we've talked about, when you look about this evolution of this Knicks team, it's been about a couple things, right? Randle, number one, Thibodeau enforcing, inspiring this team, what they are defensively, but offensively, their ability to knock down the outside shot. And that's been a huge key to this team's transformation in the second half, to go from a nice story to a team of relevance. I expect a Game 3 victory tonight in Atlanta. I do. It's going to be a great atmosphere. Probably not as good of an atmosphere at Madison Square Garden for sure, but it's going to be a great atmosphere. And I can't wait to see this Knicks team because I have expectations. I think Randle will play much better, and maybe, just maybe, this Knicks team away from Madison Square Garden, the pressure, the atmosphere, even as great as it was for us as fans, maybe it impacted that Knicks team negatively. And maybe, just maybe, you're going to get the best of Randle tonight in a Game 3 down in Atlanta. I thought you'd get it in Game 2. You didn't. I'd be stunned if a guy that has really transformed himself and the perception of himself as a player this entire year to being the most improved player in the NBA, being an all-star in the Eastern Conference, is going to play this poorly in this series. At some point in time, Julius Randle is going to get going, and I think it's going to get going tonight.